welcome you to the 2014 Hall of Fame Induction Ceremony. My name is Geoff Hassard. I'm the Assistant Director of Athletics, the Sports Information Director, and a proud chair of the Hall of Fame Committee. So we're very excited. You'll hear from a lot of people today about some great things that are going on, and we'll hear from our Hall of Famers. But at this time, we'd like everyone to remain seated as we process our Hall of Famers to the stage. First inductee, Wilhelm, escorted by Sarah Longtoe, women's basketball. Next inductee, Stevens, escorted by Joe Morgan, member of our swimming and diving team. Next inductee is Phillip Meagley, escorted by Marissa Makehart, member of our women's lacrosse team. Inductee Beth Oppenheimer, escorted by Sean Gillen, member of our wrestling team. Madeline, Felice, escorted by Zach Major, member of our basketball team. And our final inductee, Werner, escorted by Nicole Riva, member of our softball team.
Good afternoon. My name is Tracey Ranieri, the Athletic Director here at Oneonta. Today we will enshrine our highest achievers into the Hall of Fame and celebrate the pride and traditions we hold so dear in college athletics. The College at Oneonta Hall of Fame exemplifies the greatest athletic triumphs in our university's history and also allows us to celebrate the leadership of men and women of vision and postgraduate success. SUNY Oneonta was established in 1889, and it is recorded that in that very first spring, our students organized an athletic association for baseball. Athletics are a window to the university, and 21 different athletic teams grew from there, weaving a tapestry of history into our university's narrative, now 125 years old. Today, we honor and recognize another class of self-starting individuals who embody the value-driven skills so evident in the college athlete. An event like this cannot take place without a few thank yous. First, to a very dedicated group of professional staff and coaches that are in the room, along with our friends of athletics. Also, all volunteers to the Athletic Hall of Fame Committee that works tirelessly all year long to find the best athletes every year to be inducted. Could I please have the Hall of Fame Committee stand for us and be recognized? Who will be the MC for today's event. Geoff is a consummate professional, and this event is very dear to us in athletics. I'd like to thank Dr. Nancy Kleniewski and Dr. Steve Perry for their leadership and their commitment to making our student athletes have a winning experience here at Oneonta. I also want to thank the current athletes that are here, recognizing that our history is as important as our present and will continue to shape our future. This event is being webcast across the country, and I'd like to say a warm welcome to our alumni everywhere and a special hello to the Hall of Fame family members who couldn't be here today. At this time, it's my great pleasure to introduce Dr. Nancy Kleniewski, our president.
Thank you, Tracey, and good morning, everyone. I'd like to welcome you all on behalf of the college, the Hall of Famers who came back for today, our new inductees, the Hall of Fame committee, and also welcome the parents, friends, and relatives of our inductees. Particularly want to say thank you to the student athletes who were here, because you had to get up early on a Saturday to come to this, and I always appreciate it when you go out of your way to recognize the college. I love Division III athletics. I have to say, with all of the press that D1 has been getting and all of the controversy this year over paying athletes, we don't participate because we're going to get paid. We participate because we love our sports, and we show that passion and commitment to the college, to our sport, and it's also something that helps with the academic success. I think our student athletes have demonstrated that they do actually better in class. We're not pulling people through by making up fake classes and giving them passing grades. You're earning every grade you get. And I think your coaches and the other professionals who work with you are very intent on getting you the best education you can possibly get. So I'm thrilled to have the Athletic Hall of Fame show that we can have wonderful athletes and wonderful students. And I thank all of the coaches and the other faculty members and staff members who make this such a great experience for our students. Thank you so much, and congratulations to our inductees.
Okay, so let's get started. So I already said that Geoff Hassard, who's been here now for about 16 years, is the chair of the Hall of Fame committee. He is also an assistant athletic director and the director of sports, our sports information office. Geoff is certainly the brains behind the Hall of Fame and this ceremony. His passion for preserving our history and his attentiveness to the stats is clearly second to none. He is one of the finest sports information directors in Division III, and I am truly proud to work with him every day. In 2012, Geoff was the president of the ECAC SIDA organization that promotes and mentors sports information directors and assistants, and our website is coveted by our peers. I hope if you haven't already, you will like us on Facebook and Twitter. This particular ceremony, along with all the others, are on our website, and we hope that you will visit our website, oneontaathletics.com, on a regular basis. Please welcome our Master of Ceremonies, Geoff Hassard.
Thanks, Tracey. It's certainly an honor to be here all the time every year. It's just such a great event. To be the chair of the Hall of Fame committee and sit in the room with some of the veteran members of our group, such as Dick Burr and Vince Fodi and Don Fuelling, to try and hash out these classes every year, it's pretty difficult. So, I mean, truly we are celebrating the best that we have, that we've had over the history of our athletic program. So, and we'll hear more from them about their memories of Oneonta, which I'm sure you'll cherish. Before we begin the actual induction, I would like to ask that we spend a moment of silence for those members of our Hall of Fame that passed away in since we last met, including Tom Canestra, who passed away this past spring. Thank you. At this time now, I would like to recognize those Hall of Famers who are present with us today, and I would ask that you hold your applause until the end, and I ask the Hall of Famers to please stand. Members of teams of distinction that have been inducted. In 2007, the 2003 women's soccer team head coach Tracey Ranieri. The 1972 men's soccer team inducted in 2005, Max Schmuel. From the 1979 field hockey team, inducted in 2012, Colleen Larson Plantier. From the class of 1999, Allison Merchant Spagnoletti. From the class of 2000, Dawn Albin and Garth Stam. From the class of 2001, Mike Pacintelek. From the class of 2003, Don Llewellyn. From the class of 2006, Kramer Harrington. From the class of 2008, Liz McGrath. From the class of 2009, Vince Foti Sr. From the class of 2010, Dick Burr. From the class of 2011, Dr. Jane Grassdorf. Christine Fitzpatrick Monfett. And David Ranieri. From the class of 2013, David Bailey and Mr. Rick Gandoli. Thank you all for coming, and let's give them a round of applause. Okay, Tess, there we go. Now the fun part. Now we get to induct 6 more individuals, and when I tell you that they exemplify excellence, and that's what we celebrate here, is excellence in everything. Students, athletes, this group exemplifies that in everything they've done from the time they were a student here, athlete, and what they've done in their professional lives. Our first inductee was a member of our baseball team for 3 years. He was a 3-time first-team all-conference pitcher. Also played center field for us when he wasn't pitching. And I believe he batted cleanup, which back in the day, that's the power spot, right? It still is. We'll probably have some stories about being a power hitter back then and what it is today, but certainly an outstanding player for us. We won 2 conference championships during his time here, and it is my pleasure to welcome to the Athletic Hall of Fame, Mr. John Wilhelm. Welcome.
Wait. Geoff, this is like, sitting here, it reminds me of Center Stage. You know, it's like Michael Kay sitting here asking me the questions here, and I thought that, you know, when Michael Kay does his show, one of the things that he always says is, if you were in a foxhole, who would you want there with you? You know, when I thought about that, no question in my mind it would be Coach Axtell. Coach Axtell in the 70s, he had to be the strongest man on this campus. He had muscles, he was like Popeye. His arms stuck out. Everybody on the team would always say, you know, hey, if we ever got in a fight, we got to have Coach there behind us. And he not only that, but Coach would do anything to win. His word was, if I play tiddlywinks against my grandmother, I'm going to win. So, Coach, I still want you in the foxhole with me.
Well, and no, that's a great beginning. That's a great start. We certainly know that you won a lot of games back then. The teams that you played on, some of the players that you played with, we had the chance, and just so everybody knows, this year with our Hall of Fame, I had each inductee write a reflection of their time while they were here. I just felt it would be a more personal way to let them say what they wanted to say about their time here. So those are all posted on our website, you know, another plug for our website, but certainly go and read because they are outstanding and they just give you a sense of Oneonta and what it meant to be a student athlete here. And I know that yours, I asked for like a page and a half, and yours was like 3 pages, but it was great because I wanted that. So could you please share some of those stories and memories with us?
Sure. The first year that I came here on a freshman team, I played for Coach Wilhelm, and we were 9-1. And of course, I was a pitcher that had the 1 loss to Cornell. And I don't know, my ERA was like 1.4, and I had a couple home runs, you know, I did really well, and I said, okay, I got it. I show up the first day at fall practice with Coach Axtell, and I'm thinking I'm a big shot. Coach pulls me aside like 5 minutes. He says, listen, I'm going to tell you right now, your hair is too long, your sideburns are too long, you don't look like a ball player. And if you want to play on this team, if you want to come back tomorrow to practice, you better be looking like a ball player. That set the stage right there. I knew that this is going to be a whole new ball game for me, and it was, this was the way. And I got it. One of the first day of practice. The first day of practice, we actually would sit in a classroom. Coach would have all of the training rules: no drinking, no smoking, no long hair, no sideburns, no breads. So Coach made a mistake on the sheet. He spelled beards, breads, and we had fun with that all the time. Anyway, we'd sign the sheet, and Coach would say to us, "I'm never going to come looking for you. Your word is your worth, and I'll never come looking for you. Your word is your worth. So that's it." And I've used those words myself many times through my coaching career. Your word is your worth. So it was interesting. We would although one of the things that happened, apparently Coach didn't put chewing tobacco in there, and one of the players, his name was Dan Tracey, he was from Rochester, and he was a pitcher, and he chewed tobacco, and like the second inning, line drive came right back at him. He had a duck, and then I'm out in center field, and I'm hearing, well, he swallowed some of his tobacco juice, and he was thrown up on the mound, and Coach came out with Geoff, the catcher, Geoff Bray, our catcher, and here's poor Dan Tracey. He's throwing up. He's already blue. It was a short game for Dan. So, but throughout the years, we learned that these were the rules. Coach, we wouldn't argue with umpires. That was the way it was. Coach prepared us, and that was it. I can remember a game at Trenton State, and I don't like to, we won so many games that trying to come up with wins. I just like to tell these stories because these are the best stories. So anyway, we play at Trenton State, and Coach's father is at the game, and like I said, we don't argue, and Coach never argued either. Well, Trenton State had a runner at third base. I'm playing center field, and the batter hits a line drive to left center, and I'm running, and I reach out, I dive, and I grab the ball. Without a doubt, the best catch I ever made in my life. And I get up and I throw the ball in. Well, by that time, the guy at third, he's already at home. And somebody yelled, "Hey, he left early at third base." And Coach was sure that he left early. So they went over to third base and they appealed the play, and the umpire said, "No, you're safe." Well, Coach's father came out of the stands and he started arguing this call. Next thing I know, Coach is over there arguing, and I'm saying, "Oh my gosh, I've never seen this, you know." And before all the dust settled, both Coach and his father had gotten thrown out of the game. This whole melee took like, I don't know, 10, 15 minutes. So when everything finally got straightened out, I yell into the third baseman, Ray Ellis. I said, "Hey." He turns around and says, "Hey, what?" I says, "Hey, what? What about that catch?" And he says, "What catch?" The best catch of my life just went totally down the drain because of that whole melee. So it was interesting that, you know, growing up here at college, in the late '60s and '70s during the Vietnam War, with protests and you know, there were people marching and demonstrations and things, and one year, the year of Kent State, 1970, after the Kent State massacre in Ohio, there was all kinds of riots going on in the colleges. They closed the college down. It was like, I don't know, mid-May. Anybody that you know, all your classes, they turned them into pass-fail classes. And no finals, no papers, just pass-fail, and everybody went home. The campus was clear, except for the baseball team, because we still had games left. So the only people that were left on campus, they had one place, they kept a snack bar open, and we slept, ate, and did baseball practice and games for the last 2 weeks of the season. We weren't leaving. We were going to finish it out. So there's
your experience as a student athlete. I mean, how did that impact your professional life? I mean, you spent 38 years as a teacher.
Yeah, 38 years as a teacher. I used a lot of the ideas and the things that I learned here with my students. One of my players, his son is here, and my player's son's here. So you know, and some of the drills that Coach was doing, I did them too, and they hated him just like we hated him. You know, one of Coach's favorite signs, when somebody fast on base got on base, and Coach wanted to let them on their own steal. You can steal if you want. That was the sign. Coach put his hand on the chest. You can steal if you want. Or if you got to first base and you thought you could steal, then you give Coach the sign. Now you're not allowed to leave. You're not allowed to steal unless Coach gives you the sign back. So I get on base and Coach just looks away. He's looking away, you know. It's like, you know, Coach, I'm over here. Look at. I think I can do it. I didn't. Apparently, it wasn't fast enough because other guys got there. Coach lets him go. Me, no. I wasn't the most fleet of foot.
Yeah.
I had to hit the ball a long ways to get to first base.
Right. Is there anybody in addition to Coach Axtell that you'd like to thank?
Well, I would. Yeah, Coach Wilhelm. He was our freshman coach, and at the end of my sophomore year, I came to Coach and I said, "Man, my wife is at Oswego." My wife, it was my girlfriend at the time, and I said, "I think I'm going to have to transfer to Oswego." We've been making trips up to Oswego in the wintertime. It was just nasty. The lake is frozen, and there's fish this big laying out there on the shore. And I said, "Oh man, I hate doing this trip." I think that, and Coach Wilhelm says, "Oh, you're not transferring. You're not transferring." And he worked and behind the scenes stuff. I don't know exactly how this happened, but I see him riding by his car one day out by the administration building. We were running up to practice. You can't walk up there. You got to run up to practice. And I see Coach Wilhelm going like this. And I said, "Oh my gosh, he did it." So Coach Wilhelm, my teammates, especially my two best friends, they were my two best friends then. They're still my two best friends, Ray Ellis and Geoff Bray, who's here today. If you look out there, find the prettiest girl out there in the stands. That's my wife, 42 years, Suzanne. And my son Jason is here. And I have two daughters that are in California. They'll probably be watching.
All right. Well, certainly.
Geoff, I know how much work you do, and I thank you very much for your work in the entire athletic department and the Hall of Fame committee. Thank you very much. It's been a real honor, and you know, I have nothing but great memories. I said these are the 4 greatest years of my life, and this is like the icing on the cake for us.
Well, it's been our pleasure. Well, congratulations. Just getting warmed up. Our next inductee, my fondest memory of Kelly Stevens is being out on that field when they were celebrating a national championship in 2003. I mean, that was quite an event. You know, I tell everybody it's the last time that the NCAA championship for women was hosted on a college campus, and we won it, because that's the only way you do it. So certainly my fondest memory of Kelly is out there celebrating, watching her hoist that national championship trophy with Sonata Wienovic as co-captains of that team. Great soccer player for us, 3-sport athlete. She also ran indoor and outdoor track and field. She was the first female in the history of the college to qualify for an outdoor track championship. She's a 2-time All-American. She was our Oneonta Female Athlete of the Year. Incredible student. She's working on her doctorate now. I mean, she's gone on and just taken her Oneonta education to another level, and we're certainly very proud of her. And it gives me great pleasure to welcome to our Hall of Fame, Kelly Ann Stevens. That was a tremendous event, wasn't it?
Yes.
The
Absolutely.
2003.
Yeah.
How often do you think of that?
Every day.
Yeah.
A lot more while I'm here too. But yeah, every day. My poor family hears about it a lot.
I'm sure they don't get too tired. An event like that, winning a national championship, I mean, what kind of impact do you think that had on, what you've done since then?
It really made me believe anything is possible, as cheesy as it sounds. It's given me extra confidence in everything that I've done. I wear the national championship ring on the days I have, I feel I'm going to be most challenged for big presentations or big tests. Important days, I wear it because it reminds me that anything is possible, and it keeps me positive and excited.
Now, being a 3-sport athlete, of course, there's a lot of time management involved in there, and what kinds of skills did you pick up from that, you know, trying to balance all that?
I think it taught me definitely time management, how to plan out how to do everything. But at times it wasn't work because I was happy to be going from doing my studies to a track practice and then maybe a soccer practice later on too. So it was a good way to break my time up as well, I think, to have so much to do.
Right. Now, what other kinds of memories, and could you share with us maybe a story or two of some teammates or some team things that you did? Because I know that the team was very close and very tight. So.
Yes, we were. My senior year when we won the national championship, there were 5 of us seniors on the team that had been through from the beginning, you know, up into that last game, that last moment. And we became very close over it all that time. And we found a lot of good ways to de-stress and to enjoy ourselves, like go to the movies, we went bowling, we did a lot of kind of good things outside of soccer to keep us together. And so those are some of my favorite times. We had a lot of team dinners together. I think we had breakfast at Dave and Tracey's a lot as well. But it was the team, and it was also the community that we were involved in that was important to us too. And I remember that game, that senior year, the game for the national championship, the crowd, I mean, it was a full house, and it was cold. But people, many members of the community had come out, and that was so touching, and they had taken us in over Thanksgiving weekend during the championship, and that was really, really special to us as a team as well.
Now, as you carry on to now, you're furthering your education, working on your doctorate. There are times that you reflect back on that and use that as, you know, as something to say, hey, you know, someday I'm going to pass on some of these life lessons to. You know, if you were going to talk to our student athletes out here who are here, I mean, what kinds of things would you tell them from your national championship experience?
So I would say, never settle. We were ranked 12th in the nation going into the NCAAs. So we were not supposed to be winning it. And if we believed that for a second, we wouldn't have. And we were supported by the wonderful community here and the school who also believed in us. And so we didn't settle for that. And same thing for track and field too. I didn't run track and field in high school. I came here to play soccer. They started up the track program, so it was new. I had never run competitively before. But Matt LaPiccolo, my coach at the time, believed in us. And even though it was a new program, and even though I wasn't experienced, pushed me to a greater level and really believed in us. And I ended up going to NCAA's, and I didn't expect to. So that's, you know, push the bar, set higher standards for yourself, and don't give up on it. And if somebody on your team is, inspire them, because you have an influence on everyone else around you too.
And who would you like to thank at this time for, I know there's quite a few people.
So many people.
Yeah.
Everybody here, no. Dave and Tracey, my soccer coaches, gosh, they were just incredible. They were the reason I chose to come here to Oneonta. I had my sights on another school. I met them, and it changed completely from that moment. And there were times when it was tough to be here. I had a little homesickness and everything, and they helped me get through it. They're incredible people, and they continue to be very important in my life, too. My parents, of course, they came to every game. I mean, and their support and love all throughout the years, and especially here, was just wonderful. The school, the faculty, the staff, the trainers, everybody was working very hard to make sure that we could do our best here. And you could tell, we didn't have these problems that were holding us back. Everything was set out to try and make us better and live to our best potential. And faculty members, I had a lot of good academic experiences here as well. So, and the student athletes, you know, I want to thank you as well, because you are giving us all the opportunity to relive our wonderful moments here by also doing great things. So thank you, and keep up at it. We're watching, and we want to see you succeed.
Oh, well, thank you, and congratulations.
Thank you.
Our next gentleman actually grew up here in Oneonta. He is a native of this city. So even before he stepped foot on this campus, he was watching games and some of the other previous legends that are actually in our Hall of Fame. Enjoyed watching them. He had a long college career, we would say. It spanned out over quite a few years. But when he got to Oneonta, the 2 years that he had on our basketball team and on our golf team got him to where he is, you know, where we're going to induct him into our Hall of Fame. He was the 2 years he was here, he led our team in both scoring and assists, which, if you know basketball, it's kind of tough to do that because usually you're either scoring or giving the ball to someone who does score. So to be able to do that was quite an amazing feat. And as you'll see when he stands up, he wasn't a short guy either. So tall guys handling the ball is quite a skill in itself. So it's my pleasure to welcome to the Oneonta Athletic Hall of Fame, Phillip Pops Meagley. I guess I would say welcome home.
Welcome.
So thanks, congratulations. Certainly well-deserved honor, and it's been great getting to know you over the past few months after your induction, you know, after you found out you were going to be inducted. Bring us back to that time, the mid-'60s, when you were at Broome Community College, you were an All-American and big basketball player, and then you spent a few years in the service, and then you found your way to Oneonta. So why don't you kind of fill us in on that trek?
Sure. I did grow up here in Oneonta, and it was a great place to grow up. Played my high school basketball here, and I followed the Red Dragons back then when they played ball in the Armory. Many of you don't even know where that is, but it's downtown, and that's where we played basketball in high school. And Hal Chase was the coach here, and that's where he played a lot of his basketball games. So as a kid, I watched and always thought it would be fun to be able to play on a college basketball team someday. And I have my high school coach here today, Tony Drago, to thank for that, because he was very instrumental in teaching me that game. And I went off to Broome Tech for a couple of years, and then I went in the service. Spent 4 years, raised a family. My son is here today with his grandchildren and his wife, and that's why they call me Pops. When he was 5 years old, he was here running around on the basketball courts too. That was kind of fun. Not this beautiful building, but the old one across the way. I enjoyed my career here at playing here at Oneonta too. It was a lot of fun. I have some memories that I'd like to share.
Yeah, please.
Not so much about myself, but my coaches. I remember getting the call from Ed Kessler when Dale and I, my wife, decided to come back to college. He called and asked if I'd play basketball for him. And I said, gee, Coach, I've been out of college for 5 years. I don't have any eligibility left. But he had researched it, and yes, I did. I had 2 more years to play college ball. And so I said, well, let me ask the coach of my family if we could do that. And she said, well, sure, if it doesn't interfere with your schoolwork and your being a father and raising the family. I said, well, we'll try it. So it was fun. We made it. And Ed, I remember reading things about Ed where he was calm, cool, and collective. And I can share a story with you that one game in Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania, Ed wasn't very calm. You could always hear Ed over the crowd. And this one particular game, we really should have won the game. 2 minutes to go, or a minute to go or so, we were like 3 points ahead. You know, the usual drill, freeze the ball, get fouled. Well, one of our players decided that he'd like to take a long jump shot. And when he did, he missed, of course, and the other team got the ball, and we went into overtime. But Ed's reaction to that shot, I always remember and talk about today. He just literally pulled his hair out of his head, screaming, running to the top of the bleachers, hollering, no, no, no. And so much for being calm. Ed wasn't always that calm. And my other coach, Ed only coached 1 year, and then he retired from the coaching, and Don Flewelling took over. And I remember Don being a real entrepreneur, as well as being a great coach. He wanted the team to have red basketball sneakers. We had white Converse basketball sneakers. But back in those days, you had to go before the student council to get funding to go buy any equipment for the team. Well, he got rejected, and no red sneakers for the Red Dragons. But that didn't set well with Don, so he went downtown. He bought 2 English bicycles, some raffle tickets, and the team sold raffle tickets to buy those bicycles, and we got our red sneakers. And that was the way Don was, I think, all his life. He always found a way to get it done. So.
Yeah, quite a lot. I mean, and then he went on to success as well as our softball coach, and so he was truly a great.
Coach of the year a few times.
Yeah. Yep. Memories of your education. I mean, you spent your life in IBM working for government contracts. You certainly were instrumental in winning a $2 billion. Was that what it was? The contract down at IBM for a big. Why don't you talk about your professional career a little bit and how Oneonta, your education, helped you there?
Well, certainly coming back to Oneonta opened new doors for me when I went back to IBM. I was just a computer operator, and there was certainly a career there, but there was going to be a better career if you could get a 4-year degree. So my wife and I decided to come back here to Oneonta because this was our roots, and I had a place to live with my mom and dad. I thank them very much for that opportunity. And what I think I learned most about, here at school and basketball was teamwork was really what it's all about. Even in industry, when you're working, I worked lots of proposals, and that's the one I shared with you was one I really liked the best was we won the presidential helicopter to, make a new one for the president. And currently that contract is still running in Owego. And I worked that proposal and lots of other ones, and it always took teamwork in order to make a win. And the same as in basketball. It takes teamwork, you know, and you learn from your mistakes and move on, and that's what we did.
Anyone you'd like to thank, in addition to some of your coaches?
Well, I'd certainly like to thank the committee, Mr. Burr and Mr. Fody. A lot of you here won't remember Mr. Fody and his bread company, I don't think, but he made the best bread in town here in Oneonta. And certainly Don Flewelling and my coach, Tony Drago. And I want to thank my son for coming today, too, with his family, so my grandchildren could see this wonderful event. And I'd also like to say thank you to my wife for saying yes almost 50 years ago, and saying yes the second time so I could have 2 more years of college basketball. Thank you very much, honey, and I love you very much.
Thank you. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Next inductee, a member of our softball team. She took her position at second base and didn't leave for 4 years. She was a tremendous, tremendous player for us. She still holds career offensive records for us that have lasted since 2003 when she graduated. Outstanding student athlete. She's a 2-time academic All-American. She was an all-region softball player. I'm still to this day very upset because she hit .376 one year, and she didn't make the all-region team. I just don't know how that happens, but I'm still upset about that because you deserve to make that all-region. She should have been an All-American all 4 years, actually. But certainly an outstanding student athlete for us, 2-time academic All-American, and also a 2-time female athlete of the year for us here at Oneonta. My pleasure to welcome to the Hall of Fame, Beth Oppenheimer Jones. I mean, I don't know if you were as upset about that, but it just, God, to hit .376? I know, it wasn't that important. We had some great teams, and you played on an NCAA team. We won a SUNY championship. That was your sophomore year?
That was my sophomore year.
Still, that team holds the record for most wins in a season with 38. I mean, you guys were just rolling.
That was an awesome team.
I remember I went to, at that time, I was fortunate enough to travel to Florida with them that year, and stayed with Coach Speranzi and Coach Welling in the same room. That was quite an experience.
I'm sorry.
But we just, you know, but it kind of goes with the whole theme of how the athletes talk about their coaches and how much they mean to them. I mean, I was just still new here, but Speranzi and Flew they would tell me stories so I could learn about the college and learn about the players and the legends and stuff. So, but, I mean, we actually didn't do very well in Florida. Do you remember that?
Yeah, that was pretty terrible.
Yeah, we actually came back like 5-5 or something, and Flew was like, I don't know what's going on. We don't, you know. And you guys got it together, and we ran off like 20 straight wins, and it was all business after that.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Now, you said for you, when you wrote your reflection, you said that as soon as you came to campus here, you knew it was for you.
I did. You know, it's funny, I hadn't even heard of Oneonta. When I was looking for college, my mom actually was like, you have to pick a state school to go see. You have to. So I went online and I did a search for my major, and I saw Oneonta on the list, and I said, that sounds like a funny name. Let's go see it. And I stepped foot onto this campus. I immediately felt like it was home. I applied early decision, and this was the only place I wanted to go to. Mm-hmm. And I met Coach Flew that first day also. He gave me the tour of the campus before we actually did the official tour of the campus, and we didn't even have to do the official tour of the campus. He did everything for us, so
yeah,
it was great.
I'm sure. First impressions of Flew?
He was kind of like the father figure of the team. He kind of, you know, he always had that open door policy. You had any issues whatsoever, personal, academic, anything, come talk to him. And his door was always open, and he was always in there. You could go to that office, and there was flu, no matter what time of day. So.
Well, for him, recruiting was always the thing. He wanted to find players. So, certainly your academics. You also wrote about how important it was to be able to balance the two and be able to succeed at both.
I realized early on that I came to school for school. I wasn't going to be able to play softball my whole life. So I wanted to actually get an education to go on. So that was first and foremost. And then softball was my love. Softball was what I did for fun. And it was great to balance both. My semesters that we were in season were always my best semesters grade-wise, because it forced you to buckle down and do what you needed to do right then and there, because you didn't have next week.
No, you didn't. Any stories, memories, players? I mean, we had the team that you played on, especially that sophomore year with Liz McGrail and Elena Isby, Andrea Bradford, Missy Labar. I mean,
my first 2 years, I have to say, kind of taught me how to be a player. The upperclassmen really took us underclassmen under their wing, showed us the ropes, and then the last 2 years were how to be a leader. Because all of those upperclassmen graduated, they left, and we had a whole slew of freshmen my junior year, and it was we gotta lead these crew the way our crew led us. So.
And what kinds of things did you learn from that you transfer now to your, you're a physical therapist?
Yeah, I'm a physical therapist. Teamwork. I mean, everything, I have my patients, but there's 6 other therapists that I work with, and we all try to help each other out. And everywhere I've worked, it's all about being a team and communicating. That was another thing, is being a student athlete. I had to tell my teachers. I would tell them first day of, that winter semester, this is where I'm going to Florida. I'm not going to be here this week. Right. And so I never had an issue with a professor.
No. Is there anyone you'd like to thank?
The committee, obviously, my coaches. I had Coach Flew my first 2 years, and then Denise my last 2 years. They were great. And then, of course, all my teammates, the lifelong friendships that you make with your teammates. I wouldn't be there. You need 9 on a field to win. So, and I was just one of those 9. And of course, my family, my parents made it to every game my senior year. They even came down to Florida. And then I have my husband and my 2 kids that are right there that I'm hoping to pass the torch on.
Yeah. So can either one of you hit 376 right now? Probably in about 2 or 3 years?
We're working on it.
Well, listen, congratulations.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure.
Thank you.
Next we have someone who's been a regular here. I like to say she's every few years we like to keep her coming back, I guess. She's been here a couple times. It's always great to see her. She was a tremendous field hockey player for us during 78 to 81 when we went to the AIEW National Tournament, finished 3rd one year. We finished 6th or 7th another year. And she was one of the leading scorers. She finished her career with 97 career points. And if you know anything about field hockey, the magic number is 100. And I know it's crazy, but she was certainly one of our great players, her and Allison. They played together in high school and then came to here and formed such a formidable front row on attack line that other teams had to always worry about who was on the field at any given time. So team most valuable player, again, member of our 1979 team that finished 3rd at the IAW National Championships. Pleasure to welcome as an individual Hall of Famer, Madeline Beaman Felice. Well, I probably only need to ask you one question, and then we'll probably just go from there. But
because I won't stop talking.
Yeah, that's right. So Again, congratulations.
Thank you.
You talked about your passion for field hockey when you wrote your reflection, and it was all about Oneonta, and it was all about field hockey. And just a little side note, back in the day, she was the master of the scoop shot, which, if you watch field hockey, you don't see anybody really doing that anymore, but it is a skill in itself. And when you get the ball at the top of the arc and you scoop it over the goalie's head. And that was your special skill.
That was my specialty, but because people got hurt, not by me, of course, but people who couldn't do the scoop goal, they got hurt, and so it's no longer allowed. It's outlawed, I think. But that was, I was good for the scoop goal. Yeah. I started out actually in high school with Allison Merchant, and we played together. We played in 1978, the first Empire State Games, and we won the gold medal with another Watertown classmate, Jan Burkhardt, who went to Hartwick. Then I followed Allison to Oneonta, and I'm so thankful for that. Have made many lifelong friends. If you're an athlete out there, we not only played field hockey together, we studied together on the buses. We lived together in housing on campus and then off campus. We socialized together. We pretty much spent all of our time together doing team activities. And out of that, I have lifelong friendships with Allison Merchant, Colleen Plantier, who's here, Diane Reeby, Jenny Bertino, and Ginger. I'm trying to think of all my teammates that I still know of, and Diane Reeby. And then some of our loyal fans, Mary Lozano and Jimmy Lozano, Luann Cartiglia, Patty Fritz, and the baseball team. And Coach Flew really, I didn't think, liked the field hockey team because we played one spot and the baseball team played right above us and were always watching us. And we were a bad influence. But one of my best memories, a team memory, when we were Division III and the Division I schools really didn't like us because we were good and they didn't like to get beat by Division III schools. And we played, I believe, Colgate University, and it was a really close game. It was tied 1-1. I went head-to-head with the goalie and broke my nose, and their coach wanted me to come out, and I said to Brenda Meese, "Don't take me out, please don't take me out, don't take me out." And the other coach demanded I came out, and I didn't. And I won the winning goal, so that coach never did like me. And Colleen volunteered to drop me off at the hospital that night to get my nose fixed, and she said, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "Yeah, go have fun celebrating." I got in the hospital, I was a nervous wreck, and I said, "I'm not staying here," so I left. So I still have a crooked nose from that. That's another, thank God I'm not a model. So besides my friendships, I got a wonderful education. I loved Oneonta from the minute, the beauty of it. I'm from Watertown, upstate New York, and I'm used to the snow, loved the hills. We had friends at Hartwick. We did all the socializing that we could. I got a good education, believe it or not. Started out rough, and then Allison showed me where the library was. Because field hockey went from August to December, and so for my first semester I was on academic probation. And then when she showed me where the library was, over a 3.0, I will say. So it did help. I learned how to study. What else?
Your career now as a special education teacher?
Yeah, I've been teaching for 32 years. I love it. I still love working with the kids in New York State. But I will retire in a couple of years and do something else part-time just because of the way state ed has changed all the Common Core and the testing and all that stressful part of it. But I do love working with kids. I've loved my career. I'm so thankful for Oneonta. I talk about Oneonta to everyone. My family wishes I didn't. I met my husband before my senior year here. We've been married 30 years. He got to enjoy Oneonta for 1 year. My son Jeremy and his girlfriend Jana are here. My son Nick and his girlfriend Erin. My sister Mary. One of my best friends Karen Beecher from Watertown. And Colleen and Greg Plantier, Allison and Tony, of course. And my mom. I'm so happy she got to be here today. My mom and dad supported us. There was 9, I have 5 brothers and 3 sisters. They came to as many field hockey games as possible, St. Lawrence, Potsdam, when we went to nationals in Princeton. They came, and my dad's no longer with us, so I'm really happy he was there. And he got to come to my graduation at Oneonta. But sorry.
Well,
But I have nothing but fond memories.
well,
Thank you, the committee. I'm very honored.
well, congratulations.
I should just say, Coach Brenda Meese and Coach Barbara Blodgett, they were two great coaches, different styles, but they loved us, took care of us. And if you're a student athlete here, you are so fortunate because you have such beautiful facilities that we didn't have, and yet we still excelled. So you have no excuse.
Yeah. Our final inductee is our honorary inductee this year, but he also played on our men's soccer team for 3 seasons. Hurt his ankle his freshman year, so he missed out on a 4th year. Served as a team captain, was an MVP, was an all-conference player. And he's gone on to such incredible success in the sport of soccer. I say, if you go to Vermont and you talk about soccer, you can't talk about soccer without talking about John Werner. And Arlington's in the house, right? Arlington, we have some players and coaches from Arlington today to share in this moment, which just shows you the impact that this gentleman has had on lives beyond just coaching. So, it's incredible that we can induct this man into the Hall of Fame. I welcome John Werner into our Athletic Hall of Fame. I think I'd like to begin with your visit to campus because I know that's a favorite story of yours. Why don't you take us how your first visit went here to Oneonta?
I'd be happy to do that. In the 66, 67, senior year in high school, Long Island, a long way from Vermont, visiting colleges, mainly looking for a good science department because I wanted to study chemistry. And it was a little different time in terms of recruiting, and I certainly wasn't recruited. But on the tour guide took us by the swimming pool, and it was the last home meet of the season, of the year, and there was a senior All-American butterfly specialist, Ted Bears, who's an obvious Hall of Famer. And I have never, before or since, been in an atmosphere that went on in that pool that day, the cheering for Ted. He won that race, and I said, I want to come here. It just felt right. And that became advice I gave to potential student athletes I was recruiting for Castleton, where I coached. Later in my career, I'd say, it's not black and white. You're going to go somewhere, and it's just going to feel right. And that was Oneonta for me. This is a very special place.
All right, we know that, and you're still connected. You come back to watch our men and women play. You travel. It was kind of the game you came for Castleton. I think it was on Labor Day. You came to campus, and that kind of looking at you on one sideline, and you really probably maybe want to be on the other sideline. I mean, what kind of an experience was that for you?
Well, it was interesting to bring my team down here, and it was a stretch game for us, no doubt. A couple of them weren't that close, but we did go to overtime twice. We didn't win those either, but to be on the green bench and not the red one was pretty interesting. But it was a proud moment for me, and the state of the program here now with Coach Ian Byrne, I mean, they're just so good, but they do everything with class and just the way Oneonta always did, and that's part of Coach Stam's legacy.
Yeah, why don't you talk a little bit about those teams and Coach Stam and the lessons that you learned from that?
Yeah, well, they certainly became the foundation of my professional career. I had a wonderful education here in chemistry and did go on and teach high school chemistry for a long time in addition to coaching. And wouldn't trade that for anything, but you know, your life gets defined in certain ways, and in many ways for me it was in soccer and as a coach. And the experiences that I had playing for Oneonta and for Coach Stam, they're just the best they could ever be. You know, I particularly think of my senior year, and Coach moved me to defense, and things sort of clicked. And we also, that was the fall of 1970, and Coach recruited some very good players from England and Jamaica, and we became very good very fast. And one joke among college coaches is, if you want to be a good coach, get good players, and if you want to be a great coach, get great players. Well, Coach had gone out and gotten some great players, and they helped us Americans improve a ton. My co-captain was a freshman from England, Joey Howarth, and best player I ever played alongside. But it made the role of captain for me as a senior very important, because a lot of these guys were new to the country, new to college academics, as all freshmen are. And so that role and learning to be sensitive to teammates and help them carried on to my whole life as a soccer coach. So, you know, we always say 40 years later you won every game, but it's those relationships that are so important.
Any particular game or two that stand out in your memory?
Well, we went 9-2 that year. We weren't 11-0. Think of that, present athletes. We played 11 games. And the ones that stick out are the losses. Brockport here, they were a powerhouse then. It rained the whole time in the fall when I was here. I guess today is honoring that. Pouring rain, muddy field. But we played well and lost. And then we went up to Potsdam. I told this story earlier, and we were much better than Potsdam. It was a weekday game without an overnight, and we outshot them 30-1 and lost 1-0. And my former players who are here from Arlington will attest. They heard that story many times when we were going into a game where, on paper, we should have won easily. It's never in soccer. It's never easy.
No. Anyone else you'd like to thank today?
Well, I certainly have to start, since my career is something being reflected in this induction, which I'm so grateful for. But, you know, I have to start with my wife, Judy, of 40 years. She inspires me every day. Since my career is a big part of the honorary induction, you know, I learned here, you surround yourself with great people. And in my 27 of my 31 years coaching at Arlington High, Mike Keogh was my assistant. He's here now in the second row, and he brought his girls team down with his other coach, Dan Wood. Very, very special friendship and a big part of the success that I had at Arlington. And then the last 9 years of my coaching career at Castleton State College, Paul Story, an Oneonta area native who ended up in Vermont, and he has stood on the sideline at Castleton for more soccer victories than anyone else, because he assisted before I was there, and then I was blessed that he stayed on with me. So huge thank yous to Mike Keogh and Paul Story. I would also say, I don't know if any are here, but back to the educational piece, wonderful chemistry professors here. They just cared about us. Courses were tough, and learning to balance, as some of my fellow inductees said, between chemistry and soccer, you know, that lifelong skills right there. And finally, Coach Garstam. This man is just a fabulous, fabulous person. And every day I think about things I learned from Coach that became so much a part of who I was. and who I became as a coach. There was a quote on his wall that said, "You can't run easy and expect to win the race." And one thing I was always known for was nobody outworked me as a coach. And that was all from Coach Stam. He's still coach to me. He's told me 1,000 times, "Call me Garth, I can't do it." He's coach. He's coach. And the final piece, which, you know, for your whole life, it was always simple. It was do the right thing. Do the right thing. Whether you're playing the game, coaching it, whatever you're doing, do the right thing. So thank you, Coach.
Congratulations. Thank you. One more round of applause for the outstanding individuals. Well deserved. Just incredible stuff. Incredible. This is why I love this event. I mean, it just brings out the best that Oneonta has. And I know that the student athletes that are here, hearing this, echoing what Kelly said, anything is possible. Anything is possible. And we know that Tracey is never going to let anything less than the best happen here. So I want to thank everyone for coming today. We're going to recess our inductees out to the atrium. We ask that you please remain seated while we get them out to the atrium, and then we'll invite everyone to join us for the unveiling of the plaques. Thank you very much for coming today and enjoying this event. Thank you.